put onto Root. And I don't know if I love that. Don't know if I love that choice. But maybe Loud, they know you've got to be able to have more than one carry if you want to have a chance of really securing the back-to-back win. As remember, these are our defending champions. This is our current championship team, Loud. Only losing Brunsate over the off-season. Now 6-6, currently 1-1ing their way into the playoffs picture week on week. They've, I think, 4 weeks in a row, they've pulled that record. Maybe trying to break the streak right now against the surging Furia. Now, interestingly, they've put Trigo on the Callista and IU on the Ashe. I don't like this. Okay. I've seen Trigo's Callista. I don't like this. I'd rather see him on the Ashe and IU on the Callista, but that's just me. We'll see if he's able to make that one work. At the end of the day, it's 280 carries in a lane.
Yeah, and I can go either way on it, because obviously you're going to get a lot more out of the Rend when your Callista is an AD carry. And I like the Ashe Arrow cooldown thing, but when it comes down to like champion comfort, the difference is going to be pretty negligible. I suppose they're doing it for a little bit more. Well, I don't even know what they're doing for now. So what on earth is going on here? Furia just
who knows
what is happening? Witnessing. This doesn't happen.
They've just walked in and they've split now, but so have Loud, and they've just given up all control of the blue buff. Surprised by how little they fought over that one. Maybe too scared off the double AD carry into Leah. Yeah, it's just stronger potentially there. But, Xayah and Nautilus, I would have thought, could start to fight over that one. Guess not, though. And it is the blue buff steal. Croc's going to instead take his red on vision, so they'll know exactly what's going on for him.
And they've forced him into this path as well. It's not checkmate, but it's check. Furia are running the game for the first couple minutes, and most notably, actually, being able to split the jungle like this will keep your double AD carry lane that are otherwise very squishy and vulnerable to ganks a whole lot safer. So really smart play from Furia to be able to take that autonomy, recognize their strength, and turn it into further safety. It is something that they're opting into, perhaps impacting FNB a little bit more, but he's already crashed the first wave, and things are coming back towards him. This looks, at first glance, like a really well thought out plan for Furia. Is it coincidence?
Yeah.
I hope not.
Who can say? Yeah, with Furia, with CBLOL, we sometimes have to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I believe we can do that here today. With Furia, every time I do start giving them the benefit of the doubt, they instantly lose. This has remained true all the way through the season. The last time I cast them, I decided they were going to win. They then lost. So this is another game with a great start from them, where I believe I have predicted them. But maybe I might have just not bothered to do that because it literally never ever works out when I do. So maybe Loud can be the ones breaking their 500 batting record here, moving to 7-6. Both of these teams currently at a joint 6th, I believe, or joint 5th or 4th. They're on the cusp of playoffs, is the point, but they are one win away from dropping into 8th and 9th, with how this league is currently sitting. They are very much not safe.
This is a crazy path from Goot. Nobody would have expected this. He took his Raptors, then walked out of the jungle through the turrets, and is coming back for the fight. Pushes Croc out of the jungle. Goot's an animal. Just no other way about it. Trigo, forced to flash away.
Trigo suffers heavily, but look at the fire back from them.
How did they win that trade?
Root. I have no idea. They had Trigo jump down to 20% in the opening salvo. They did get both his summoners at least. And Root and Seos held on to the flashes, but heavy threat in this bot side. Anyone could drop at any second. Tinones maybe wants to break this one open, though.
This is pinged. Envy knows what's going on, and Tinones gets to apply pressure but not find the kill. This is a good play from the Loud mid laner, the kingpin of this roster, but is it enough just yet? We'll have to see that several more times for Loud to actually be able to output enough pressure that they start taking this game back against a Furia and a jungler in Goot that is absolutely slamming them right now.
It really is. This pathing is out of this world as FNB crashing the wave versus Robo. We see someone invading into the jungle here. Croc now trying to get a bit of revenge, but he finds Envy, not Goot. Will still find the stun. And will slip away with a blast cone before anyone can say anything about it. But we saw a potential punish onto bot lane with Goot and Tinones both roaming down at different times, but neither will fall. and the CS lead goes heavily into the favor of Trigo.
Yeah. At this moment, unable to get access to that red buff either. Croc is still playing down in terms of tempo. While he does still have access to his own jungle now and has managed to keep relatively even in the CS by making use of the Scuttle Crabs, it's worth noting that Good is the one that is large and in charge in the jungle, being able to determine what Croc can take and what Croc cannot, and by extension, where Croc can be on the map. When we talked about it earlier, we said that Furia starting their pathing in the bot lane kept their bot lane safe. Now it's turned into so much more, where FNB can play a lot safer, knowing exactly where Croc has to be, and where Goot is able to effectively defend multiple lanes by limiting Croc's options.
It is certainly surprising to see Goot having the run of Croc so far in this early game. It's not been the greatest season for Goot. I was always someone who thought Goot might have been a little propped up by an incredibly dominant Furia roster around him in Split 2 of 2022. And I think he has suffered a little bit while the lanes have not been able to leverage as much. When FMB was still kind of snoozing up in top lane, Envy was doing good for himself, but Trigo and Redbird did not really have the impact of Natuno from last season. And now that they have IU on board, the FNB has awoken from his slumber. Goot, with a lot more kind of confidence, maybe he just kind of reflects the team around him as to how strong he feels and how strong he looks, as this dragon will be started up by Loud.
Loud are sacrificing a lot for this Drake as well, and taking the risk that Furia don't want to fight them. Well, Furia look like they do. In goes Goot, gets CC'd.
Yeah, Croc is already in and out, and Sails now on the front line, but Goot, the first blood, in fact, picked up by Sails with a drive-by ignite, but he's not going to get away alive as Root has the flash and blast cone way out of dodge. With a TP backup from FNB, who just strolled his way down there to have a look-see. Ultimately, Furia will get control of the pit, but the dragon cannot be started.
That almost went so much worse as well. Look at Croc's health bar right now. I mean, that is 2 Callista autos away from going down, and 2 is being generous. While Furia now get additional push in the bot side, we're seeing how much this risk has now impacted Loud and how far it set them behind in terms of the game state. Their commitment to the bot side left these top camps uncleared, in addition to trying to go for a dragon that they ultimately didn't get. FNB dominating up top, actually into the dominance of Robo, who's now thinking about re-engaging. But Goot's going to be able to clear this bot side, come back down, and threaten this dragon again, while Croc is going to be on the opposite end of the map for the next few minutes.
Both top laners channeling the recall. Robo, of course, still has his TP and will drop it now. FNB already used it. But that was a very close fight for them. And this blind pick Renekton going even against the Nerf Jacks for now, but will not have the same impact later and later, especially in the side lane as this game rolls on. So Robo, you got to imagine, he's got to find some teamfight impact, got to find some mid-game impact, as FMB is inevitable when he is on his comfort picks, when he's feeling good, when he's playing well. This is arguably the most talented, active Brazilian player, FNB, in this top lane, in all lanes, you know? When he's on form. So you cannot sleep on this man as Loud. They'll move on to the Herald. They'll try and get this topside objective. It is on Vision. Goot's in the area. They might try and contest, but they might be a little behind the curve.
Yeah, FNB just now rotating over. In comes the wall, shutting out Tiddones. It's a 2 versus 3. And while the Rift Herald goes down, it looks like Loud will as well.
FMB gets him, but he doesn't find Robo. Again, Loud slip away with a sliver of HP. And the clapback is huge. 2 kills for Loud. They walk away with the Herald as well. All of these knife-edge plays are coming up Loud today.
I need to see that replay. I need to see how that happened again. Because Furia looked so in control of that fight. With the wall to start things off, and yet, like you say, unable to finish off these kills. It's the second time that it's happened, but Tiddones stepping pretty far forward, is going to get out.
I love that use of his ultimate, though. He sees it under him and ults over the wall to avoid the seismic shove, then gets plopped right back on the safe side of the wall. Great Zeri mechanic there to get him out of dodge, but here's that fight. Let's see how this actually happened.
Because Envy starts this off great. Walls off Tiddones. Tiddones can't participate, and yet he pops around the side, gets some good damage onto Goot, and everybody shows up. It's the cavalry from Loud, the numbers difference that really changes everything. It's not so much about the timing, I suppose, as the fact that Furia wanted a short fight and they got a big one.
Yeah, I think IU and Trigo not there in time. I think IU wasn't even there. I think he Ash arrowed and then Trigo showed up, but you know, Croc got stunned up and didn't really take any more damage. Robo had the flash to get away, and he lives on 1 HP or just about. But Root and Sales were ready to punish, as the next dragon is live. Or I say next dragon, it's the first dragon. We didn't take it last time. Maybe Loud, searching for a bit of an angle here. Scrapping Artinones and Envy. Goot and Croc as well, coming together. Not the first time this game, but no advantage found majorly just yet. No big openings. The dragon will be untouched again unless Loud wants to move over.
At the moment, Loud do have a pretty big advantage as well, and it's in the form of Croc's mythic item. Being able to pick that up, given the kills on the Sejuani, he is right back into this game, but Furia still are looking for the engage right now. Ult's available for Goot. Again, they're waiting a really long time to go for this, but Tinones doesn't land the damage instead. Gets CC'd himself, goes golden.
Great stopwatch flashes away. He survives, and now Goot's on the front line. He's going to be taken down. Trigo, there's the Nautilus ult, though, locks up that Kalista, but can they find the kill? He's dipping and diving. He survived initially. Root drags the feathers back.
Tinones!
And will knock down the bot laners, but Envy and Tinones, the mid laners, left standing. Oh my goodness, man. These Furia engages, whoever they pick first, they can never quite get the job done.
And it feels like Goot's on a slightly different page as well. During these fights, yes, he's got to play main engage, and he's just not that tanky, but the rest of the team seems to be opting into different directions, and ones that don't really cover Goot's escape either. Well, I hesitate to say that it's bad play. I don't think that Fury are playing bad. They're not playing perfectly at the moment, and this is a real moment here where Tinones is isolated and Goot gets engaged on and has to go in. The rest of Furia then not really able to pick a side to play. Do they go for Tinones? Do they fight everybody else? It ends up being sort of, well, neither choice.
Yeah, I love the fact that IU flashed the wall on support Ash to try and kill Tinones there. Very IU play from him. Did leave him without the flash. If he's Belveth, maybe that works out a little better. But it does go Loud's way in the end. They didn't take the dragon. Still, we've got this dragon at 13 minutes. No one has been able to finish this thing off yet. And now Goot and IU are trying to sneak this one out and catch Loud slipping. No one currently checking it. Croc on the way, slowly but surely. Don't think he's going to be here on time. At the very least, the rest of his team. Tino's not going to be there. Furia, after all of that, will still pick up this first rake.
It's a goddamn miracle they got that dragon too. I mean,
no,
look at the items alone. Loud can absolutely take that fight. Arrow? Cheers.
Right. That was one of that.
Yeah. You got to go for it. Hero play.
30 CS up. What's going on here?
Honestly, I'm starting to doubt it, but I'm scared of IU, and I'm worried that it might just be another ridiculous win.
Yeah, once again, these Furia games, you really can't tell. What does seem to have worked generally against this team, if they're not coming out ahead from the laning phase, it's kind of similar to old Furia. They don't necessarily have great comeback potential, in my experience. They really play best when they are ahead out of lane, when they're able to play to their own win conditions and just kind of roll over their opponents. Whereas Loud are very inconsistent in their execution so far. They've got a good start here, but remember, it's off everyone getting out on 50 HP from all of these fights. It was far from cleanly executed, and there's very much an easy way for these fights to start breaking Furia's way.
It certainly is, and I think that the scariest thing here is that even if Furia don't start getting team fights, they're going to be getting this side lane. FNB will eventually start winning the matchup up against Robo, and even now may actually be close to that position. Does still have ult to pop and gets it at the perfect time to continue this fight.
FNB doesn't want any more of this one, but Tinones drops the Sleepy Trouble bubble. It won't quite make it. FNB escapes as Envy rotates over to cover it off. A close one, though. Robo. We're talking about Tinones' CS lead. Let's look at Robo's. Arrow comes past again. Tinones will skip to safety. But yeah, let's not forget Robo's CS lead. In this blind Renekton pick, this R1 Renekton has accrued a sizable lead himself, plus 2 assists. Really not doing too bad.
No. That's why you picked champion. Teleports up for Robo as well, so we could get this monster croc involved in the next team fight. Rift Herald looking like it's going to go down to Furia unless Loud are able to do anything about it. Their timing cut in half by this Talia wall. Great play out of Furia, although sleep on the Goot.
But they're not done.
They do have to pick that up.
He's going to find it. He's got the Nature's Wrath, and now this play goes a lot better than last time for Furia. Traded for mid lane tower, though. That first turret gold, and they get that Kalista ult, though. There's why you pick this champion. Just yoinks IU back into safety. And the Herald taken for Furia for no deaths this time. It's a big improvement, as Croc, maybe still miffed about that one, looks to dive forward. Cannot find the kills, though.
Seos isn't letting Goot get away with this too easily either. Clears out even more vision before popping back, but Furia did get it, even though they did have to run for the hills lest Loud punish them. Still a good look, and ooh, plenty of damage. Not as much as I'd expected, actually, after that Zoe Q.
Yeah, it was not too bad. And this is, I guess, the Merc Treads paying some dividends for Envy. He's got the tier stacking up. We'll get the Seraphs eventually as FMB firing back onto Robo, flashes in himself, forces the same from the Renekton. And it is tough to split this top lane matchup, man. Robo with the CS lead from that Renekton pick, but FMB still threatening the kills.
And by the time we hit second item, I don't think we'll be as concerned. Right now, the fact that Robo is even having to consider flashing away from Jax, already pretty concerning for Loud and the promise of things to come. In the next couple minutes, we'll have to be dealing with even bigger objectives as well as the second dragon is going to come up at 18 minutes into the game. And soon after, we will then have the Baron, where I think Furia can really start to play some serious games. When you've got side lane pressure, when you've got poke the likes that Furia have, Baron's really where you find your home.
Exactly, and they've got that Kalista secure potential as well. They have a great Baron setup on their hands, do Furia. As they pop that Herald into top lane, they'll get their first turret of the game. I imagine they'll leave that one for Tinones to clear out. As Robo is working on bot lane. Dragon now up in 30 seconds. Let's see who wants to move over first. Currently, it is a sea of red vision.
Dude.
You probably could have done something about that, Tinones. You know, if we really think about it.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I shouldn't have interrupted your point. It was just...
No, it's important to note that we can't.
Sometimes you see something in your body react. So in this case, my body reacted with my dude.
My dude. Tinones. My guy.
Yeah.
But let's see if he can redeem himself. TP's into the Dragon River, I should say. Furia stepping up to clean out this vision. Got to avoid that CC though. Avoid those bubbles.
This Zoe damage, perhaps not exactly where it needs to be for a fight either. Furia are going to have a lot more consistent DPS that they can output, despite the fact that Talia isn't exactly a hyper carry in the mid lane either. Now, Loud do have first position on this dragon, or are they just the meat in a very scary sandwich? Because in comes FNB from the other side.
Bubble onto IU, forces the flash away. Loud maybe wants to capitalize, but the flank in FNB, there he is. Out comes the Nature's Wrath. No one to follow up yet. Neither team able to pull the trigger here, and the Maokai ult plus the Ash Flash and Ash ult off the table, a big boon for Loud for any ensuing fights.
If Furia are able to play poke, they should be all right, but Loud aren't planning on giving them that chance. Dragon gets started, wall comes in, Furia need to force an all-out fight.
Yeah, they've managed to get it. The Weaver's wall is there, but no one wants to push this further from Furia's side. One dragon apiece, TP back to top lane from Robo. And Loud now, 2k in the lead, evened up the dragon stacking. They have avoided getting broken back by Furia. And we'll go into this mid-game comfortably ahead.
That was such a good play by Loud as well. It not only recognizing that it was their time to take the dragon, but all the moments before that kept them from getting punished by Furia. You don't get to see play like that every day, and I like the way that they correctly identified these small seconds of timing. It's in contrast to actually our previous match where we kept talking about, with especially in the early game, Red constantly misidentifying by just a few moments, a few seconds here or there when they were powerful. I think Loud's biggest strength right now isn't in their composition, isn't even in the way that they're playing, but no matter where they are on the map, they're able to identify and then capitalize within just a few seconds of being in an advantage state.
Yeah, for sure. They're doing a great job right here. As we said, inconsistent are allowed, but the highs are still high as Robo dashed away from the Ash Arrow. Will escape from Envy as well. Furia again threatening, but unable to close the jaws of the trap on their chosen target. As Loud will continue scaling forward here. But yeah, these side lanes are going to go Furia's way eventually. The Jax, the Talia, they're going to be able to outperform their counterparts, I would imagine, in terms of the pushing power, especially Jax in terms of just the 1v1 potential, the 1v2 potential as well. There's the engage from Loud. They're tired of getting engaged on. They want to pull the trigger themselves. They can't find the kill. Nature's Wrath is out, finds a couple of roots and a double knock back. But Root covering it. Furia, again, back away. The terror in their eyes is visible.
At this point, Furia should be winning this game. They should be able to just maneuver this Jax into a side lane. They even already committed FNB into that play before getting caught out. And then pressure the Baron, play around with a little bit of poke, play to their win condition. But instead they're getting engaged on in team fights where Trigo's not able to do any damage. Envy has built Merc Treads initially and has very little else to back him up. And they're just never on the front foot. Goot is throwing out these ultimates defensively, which means that FNB, for all the side lane pressure that you have, it isn't amounting to anything.
Exactly. Loud rotated right back over, shoved him off while Robo, completely untouched on the top side, finds that tower first. Up to all the outers taken now for Loud, as the game continues to gradually creep into their favor. Furia, they commit more bodies down and they will find that bot lane tower eventually. But full control of the Baron River is ceded to Loud. They're eyeing it up with some hunger right now. Vision is put down at least. And they will just head back to it. It does seem like no one's really able to get that decisive play. Furia seem like they want to, but they're instantly turning away from it as soon as it doesn't go perfectly. And Loud feel like a lot more comfortable right now.
In about 10 minutes, Loud are going to have a 3-item Xayah as well. And that's where I don't know if Furia have an answer. FNB does scale really well. Side lane's always going to go great, but Xayah's kind of a different animal and really consistent where a lot of AD carries can fall short in team fights. On top of that damage that Tinones has just suddenly been able to secure with the Shadow Flame.
Yeah, that 2-item spike hitting pretty different right now. Trigo didn't love that for him. And he is going to step away. A lot of 2-item spikes being hit on this bot side of the map. Both the AD carries, well, both the role-selected AD carries and mid laners, both on a couple items. Robo as well. Sejuani heading fast towards one. This mid game is well and truly on. It's now FNB. Maybe he could find an angle to punish Robo here. The Dragon's up in 50 seconds, and this has normally been where the game has pivoted around, as these picks have not succeeded in coming through. And hopefully someone will find something. Someone will find some action to achieve there.
You gotta hope so. If you're Furia, perhaps a pick is your best option for the next couple fights. And this isn't a composition that really has a whole lot of pick tools. Outside of the Maokai, things aren't feeling too good for Lockdown. Instead, they're the ones getting pushed in. That sleep from Tinones buying even more ridiculous space. And another tower falls without Baron, without Rift Herald, without anything. Loud just take it.
Yeah, Furia Envy though on this top side finds himself an inner, and there's that split push potential from the Talia just crushing those waves, gets them in so quickly and can rotate over. And look at the quickfire Baron play from Furia. They see Tinones in the base and they go straight onto this objective. Loud though, they respond straight away. They'll know where Envy is. This gets a little messy. A TP into the pit from Robo. They've got a hook onto Talia. Loud need to try and slow this one down. Robo running interference, but can they make their way into the pit? Goot goes down, and the smite is taken by Croc. He slides in with no smite opponent, takes the Baron away, flashes in to continue the fight as Root has extra damage to follow it up with. And Loud punish Furia for their play again.
It's this split-second identification that, oh no, we're strong now. Furia just messed up, and they did, trying to start that Baron when they have, and I repeat, no damage on this Kalista. No damage on this Talia either. I mean, we're getting to the point where, just on a pure numbers perspective, Furia can't take fights. Look at how long it takes them to get the Baron to this health. All while Seos is just vibing, not even afraid of Envy, in the jungle, commits to the fight, and Root and Robo take essentially a 2v3 for the first 5 seconds.
Yeah, Goot goes down so quickly here, and then Trigo, he has the Ren stacks. He is Kalista, but he gets outsmited by a smite. This is not the point of this. This is not how this Kalista is supposed to work. In this pit, he should be able to outsmite that, but cannot get it done. And this is why I don't like Trigo Kalista.
Yeah,
it just doesn't really work, you know?
I think that we're finding out Kalista may be, in fact, better in support, especially for a composition like Furia, who did not just slam bot lane early, that weren't pulling out gank after gank, but another fight starts.
Seos takes a lot on the front line. Nature's Wrath
Caliber
locks
flank.
up the front line of Loud. TP in from Tinones and FMB thinking about it, but he's back to bot lane. And Loud with the Baron have the inside track to mid lane.
He's dead.
Ooh, massive
dead.
bubble into IU. If this key lands, perfect. Kalista saves him, drags him to safety, as we would expect. But Loud first to the tower. It's not going to live.
Sorry, whose base was this?
Whose map was this? Whose rift is this? I think it's Loud's, to be honest.
Louder, they're just there
Robo.
first.
We saw that Robo.
Yeah,
Don't
that's
think
messed
we didn't.
up. I think
Flash it.
Furia
Take
saw
the
that
L.
too. They were like, huh? Free purse?
Puts another L in Loud right there for Robo. Make it 4 L's in the tag. Why not?
We've got to hold on to that. It's got to be but that sounds really good. Furia do get to hit the map once again, knowing they forced the flash out of Robo. It was them and not him that did it. And fortunately, they've got at least 1 or 2 more fights left in them before this game funnels completely out of their control. And make no mistake, I mean, Furia have the tools to be able to...
Ooh.
There we go.
Love that. Love
Take
that
fights.
little combo. Seismic shove into the Ash Arrow. Love that.
It was concerning, though, thinking about how long it took them to take down that Nautilus.
Yeah,
It
they've
does
tried
worry
multiple
me.
times.
That's not jungle not.
Finally worked out. They've got to play in the works here. They've got a scheme in mind, perhaps, trying to camp this brush. And I think, as you say, they've got a couple fights left in them. They've got to find them as Trigo forced to cleanse Nature's Wrath there, but it's under the Loud turret. There's no way Furia wants to take a fight under turret at this point in the game.
Nope.
With an exposed inhib.
Good job from Loud as well to throw out the Sejuani ult and force out the cooldown, that big, I want to say, re-engage tool from the side of Goot, though more often than not it has been used as their main engage. With just a few minutes left, 2 minutes on both objectives, in fact, we're going to be jumping into yet another situation, much like last game, where we've got both the Baron and the Dragon coming up at the same time. Loud benefiting quite a bit from this next Dragon, but also the ones in charge, so why not go for the objective that says win more?
We have so often today seen this gambit play out, with both major objectives spawning. Luckily, for either side, there is no soul to be picked up here, but a Baron for Loud could mean the end of days for Furia. Likewise, it could be the key to get Furia back into this game, and as we've said, they still have this Jax win condition. They still have the scaling on that top side of the map to play through, but they've got to be allowed to get there. FMB 0-2-1. Doesn't feel like he's played particularly badly this game, but has never been allowed to get rolling.
No, and this side lane Jax pipe dream that we've seen so many times for CBLOL is once again starting to, well, feel more like a backup and less like it's an actual win condition for them. Robo is literally 1v5, and I mean, GA, he's got time. The rest of everyone else has shown up. 1v4, excuse me.
Yeah.
Do Loud still take this fight?
You know, when you say side lane Jax is a pipe dream for CBLOL, the first person I think of is Robo from the first couple of weeks of the split, and there he is in the side lane. dying 1v4, so not ideal. He has the TP up in 30 seconds when he's off the fountain, but both of these objectives are going to spawn before he has the time to get in here. But can Furia realistically do anything with this?
I mean, I don't think so. Loud do have a Zoe on the other side. You're walking into Loud's setup. So here comes the teleport. FNB going to be ready for this dragon spawn. Loud still may fish for something around here, though, and Furia have to respect that by leaving FNB in front to tank any of those sleepy trouble bubbles. For the moment, 4 seconds left. Robo's going to be teleporting in. Out goes that paddle star. Not going to find any connects, and it looks like this should be going to Furia.
Envy walling them off with the seismic shoves. Croc's in, but he can't find it. Won't get the steal away, but Loud at least can skulk back to mid lane without losing a man. Tino's still threatening. Doesn't quite find IE. Imagine that would have been a pretty scary one for the Ashe to get clipped there. And Loud instead going to take the first move onto the Barren River. They'll find the scuttle. They might even just start it up. Who knows? Or maybe they'll just throw down this mid lane tower. Loud and Furia, not really sure what they want to do. They want to fight. That seems to be the answer.
Tino's should have died already. I'm playing really aggressively with this Zoe. Now on the flank, though. Now with the rest of the team. Out goes the arrow, and Seos goes low.
Again, the Nautilus chunked out. The Nature's Wrath is there. Forces the cleanse from Root. Frontline Xayah, not what you want to see right here. Holds onto his flash at least, but loses the ult. And Loud now, with a rough start to that play, I think they'd be happy if it ended and could just go for the reset.
Seems like that's what they're going to do as well. I may have spoken too soon, though. Root's all healed up with that Bloodthirster, and they're right onto the Baron. Perhaps the unexpected play, trying to bait Furia into a stage where they cannot fight back. Tino's still looking for this poke and unable to land anything. Is Loud. Again, go for the bamboozle. Try and find that engage and come up empty-handed. I will say, though, with all this time that's going by, we're already close to halfway off cooldown on Root's ult, and that was the big thing that they lost. Oh my god!
Oh, dear lord. Cat this man a wit's end. Holy moly, Tino's deletes FNB, and the Baron is a sure thing, just like that. After all that posturing and back and forth, Loud get their second Baron of the game. They're now up about 6k. And a base that is primed to be broken open.
When it comes down to the 32-minute Baron, it's just a Tino's diff. Otherwise, that was risky.
Yep.
Otherwise, Furia could have contested you. We had the promise. And yet, 4v5 not going to happen. Furia know it as well as anyone. Loud now know, as well as Furia, that they are in charge of this rift. Even without the Jax, they've got side lane pressure for days. They've got mid lane pressure for days. I mean, Loud can take whatever they want. And right now, they're knocking on the base doors. I'd like to see a split between mid lane and bot lane. Clean up a few of the turrets that you've got left around the outside of the map while starting to threaten the base.
Look at that damage total, man. Tino's hard carrying this game on the damage charts. The rest of his team are all below their Furia counterparts by thousands of damage. Only Tino's topping it out there on this Zoe. You hyped him up at the start of this game, Dia. Really the centerpiece of this current Loud roster, and he is showing us why. Even on the Zoe pick, the impact is unquestionable. Heading towards his Rabadons on the next buy as the Baron push lands into the base. They'll knock forward Croc, but he steps away, uses the Arctic Assault to get to safety as the Maokai ult will not facilitate further fighting. And the pair of cannon minions are working on this bot lane tower.
One more wave, and this should go down. Tino's goes aggressive, finds that sleep. FNB, does he die? Looks like no follow-up from the rest of the Loud roster, nor from Tino's himself on perhaps another aggressive jump forward. But the damage is done.
Yeah, pushed him back. Disconnected from his team as Tino's chases him round to the top lane tower, in fact. And both these inhibs are going to be falling here. Loud with all the setup they need and still got 50 seconds left on the Baron. Take the reset now. Spend that money. Head back to top lane. Or potentially look at the Dragon. To be honest, without Soul Point, I don't know if the Dragon's even worth your time here. Just get that other inhib down and end this game before Furia have a chance to get more money.
That is the one thing that could bring this back into Furia's favor. is that late game promise. Once everyone hits 6 items, once the death timers get long enough, you do just need to get one thing right, and Furia have the technical tools to do that, especially as more items are starting to stack up in Kallista's inventory. Well, it isn't going to feel any better on hit. When Trigo hits, it isn't actually going to be hitting any harder. You're not going to see 400 health chunks taken out of people. Stacking more spears as quickly as possible into multiple members, especially, is going to be what Trigo becomes better and better at over the course of the game, and might be the turning point in a fight.
Robo gets away from the Ash Hour, but Envy and FNB looking to try and punish him here on the side lane again. There's the Dominus, and Seos flashes in, and the rest of Loud come out of the woodwork. Envy, the first to fall. FNB once again running for the hills outside of his base. And Loud go right back to this top lane push. The Dragon on the Rift lies forgotten as the win is beckoning for Loud to break their 1-1 streak if they can. At least they'll get the 1 on deck and can maybe look for a 2-0 in their next game. Triple inhibs our Furia. Time is running out.
It's going to be their last stand. They won't even have Envy for it. 20 seconds on that timer, and IU almost dies.
My word.
FNB?
And now the dive comes through. FNB's onto the backside. He gets a nice counter strike and goes golden to buy some time. Seos falls to Trigo.
Trigo!
And Furia with an angle in this fight, but Tinone's always on the front line threatening, but he's in and he's down. FNB finds him, and Furia will hold them at the base, and Goot off the fountain. Gonna find Robo. Surely they can get this chase down. They get more kills here. They find the Dragon. They maybe find towers. Oh, FNB steps too far forward, and Root flips it on its head. Now he's the one stepping up aggressively, but maybe he's bitten off more than he can chew. Croc is there. Trigo trying to punish.
Root!
Flash into the Ash Arrow. IU plants it square on his nose, and Root goes down.
Well, now we're just ending. we had a real good time in the base. Actually, Furia played immaculately to stay on top. We get out of the base, things get a little more iffy. Flash down for Root, and we'll call it till the next time, but Furia do have a fighting chance in their own base. Bloodthirster now picked up for Trigo, so a little more sustain on this Kallista, but we saw these big chunks of damage that come in, and they're getting even bigger as Envy picks up the Rabbidan's death cap as well.
Exactly. 4 items done for the carries of Loud, for Robo as well, and it is matched up by Furia. But they are triple inhibbed, remember. There is so much pressure piling down on them through the lanes. And the Baron's up in 25 seconds. Loud will have an easy track onto this objective. And Furia, they've got to sacrifice their own base to try and make a journey through to that pit to stop Loud getting the objective that will win them this game.
FNB's side lane pressure just... what did we sell? Pipe Dream earlier?
Yes.
Not
I can't
realistic.
speak in absolutes with the CBLOL, as I maybe would in other regions, as we've already seen. But here's the Baron, and Loud. Let's see if they want to just go straight onto it. Furia, they've managed to shove their way out, but they can't stay out here for long.
Watching that Ash Arrow from IU could be game deciding if you find the right member, and out it goes. Finds Tinones, but he's all the way in the back line.
Could have been the right member in a different scenario. Sejuani else traded for it. And Loud, oh my goodness, firing straight back. Tino's not dissuaded by that one. And FNB still trying to get a push going in bot lane. Furia just does not have the time to play with here. Loud, no pressure on them.
Look at how IU is playing. Like, this is your AD carry. He just has no damage.
He's trying to do something. IU is really desperately trying to make something happen in this game. Frontline Ashe supporting, fishing for the arrows. But ultimately, the situation is just untenable, and the Baron's gonna fall for Loud. The last pushes will be coming in shortly, and all they've got to do is walk it in.
It's time to shake that magic 8-ball and say, will Furia be able to somehow find another successful fight? Because that's their one way of, I hesitate to say even thriving, but at least keeping themselves in the game and hoping for another shot at it. 40 minutes into the game, one fight can change everything. One fight can bring Furia into a winnable position, but it's so unlikely. Goot waiting on the flank right now, trying to get the best position for the Maokai ultimate possible. He is spotted on vision. Loud know exactly what's up. Out goes the arrow.
They go for it, they pull back in Croc, they got good damage on the front line, and FNB is there to follow it up. Croc has to get away.
FNB!
There's the flank from
FNB!
Jax over the wall with a massive counter-strike. Furia, this is the engage you needed, but Tinone's always a threat on the side. As Furia, you can't give up now. You need more, and they found it. Tinone's falls. Robo going low.
No way.
Good to casualty, but Furia have managed to do the impossible. They've rebuffed Loud at the gates of their base once again, and the negative power play is out.
Watch the arrow. No, not gonna find him. If they'd gotten root there, would have felt pretty good. And either way, it feels incredible. What a drug to be on Furia right now, as they are able to finally claim that tier 1 in the mid lane. Start slapping back at these towers. The death timers for Loud are so long, and Furia were so patient. Now that we're at this stage in the game, yes, we've still got Furia on the back foot, but they have shown us that they can take a fight by carefully orchestrating the positioning with Goot and FNB. They get one more like that, and this turns from no chance in hell, 3 inhibitors down, to a Furia win.
This is why we don't speak in absolutes here in the CBLOL. What a setup, what a play. And look at Tinones, he's miles back there. He knows he has to respect the TP from FNB. But that counter-strike seals the deal. What a flank from the Jax. And Loud just milling about. Don't know what to do. Don't know how to get in. Don't know where to look. As Furia picked them apart.
And it's purely this defensive play from Furia that looks really good. When you're able to, start another fight? In the middle of the rift?
Root has flash but no cleanse. And Furia, they can't find it. Loud hold their nerve. And they'll step back again now. The Baron still technically live on a couple of their members for 10 more seconds. And 30 seconds on the Dragon, which Loud could play for as the Mountain Soul. But they've got to get these waves in check, man. Look at top and bot.
Big arrow.
Will they have time?
And
will they have time?
Where is Seos? He's deleted.
He is gone. He has left the building as Root pushes back FNB, who doesn't find the counter-strike. And a 4v5 is not unplayable, I dare say, but Loud, after the way the last fight went, maybe don't want to play with fire.
Furia don't really have a choice as to what risks they take, though. You can't leave this Mountain Drake up for Loud to sneak while you push the base, so this singular death timer will turn into an extension on life for Loud. They're not being pushed. There's no aggressive moves being made, and Loud, I hesitate to say losing control, but definitely in those moments. I mean, you find one pick, you find one good arrow. I think IU might be earning himself an MVP.
It's slipping, man. Furia really hulking up right now. I think, you know, we called out earlier that the lack of comeback potential from Furia. If they don't get a good early game, they don't really have what it takes to break it back in. Absolutely, we can say that is not the case in this game. They've actually taken the gold lead back, basically dead even at 76k. How does this happen 2 games in a row? I don't know. But Furia holding their base down to their last barest fingertips, and now evened up the Dragons, evened up the gold. And this side lane Jax, with a Zhonya's no less, is starting to become a bit of an issue.
Good thought on the wall as they went for a pick. Envy maybe getting picked in the side lane. Robo does still have that flash as well. Onto Envy if he can find this kill.
He needs another slice and dice, and Trigo's coming to support him. Robo on top of Envy. He's going to get slowed down by the Rend, and the shield's there.
Oh my, where did he go?
Is popped by Trigo. He didn't miss that Rend, that's for sure. And Robo on the side lane continues to bamboozle myself and his team and his enemy team. As FNB just crashes the wave responsibly and backs off.
I can't believe I'm not allowing myself to curse on broadcast, because this is absolutely a moment where expletives are the only thing that accurately describe the situation. We've got Furia in the driver's seat of this game, able to respond to Loud, and we're 45 minutes into it.
It can't be happening. How is this possible? You know, it's the CBLOL just never ceases to deliver. We have to thank everyone for coming along with us on this journey. Watching here today, we've got some banger matches. Nothing is as it seems right now. Nothing is for certain today in the CBLOL. As the Ash Hour was thrown, but will simply be weathered, but it's almost half back up already. Such is the nature of late game Ash support. Robo TP's back in and Root on the front line, daring Furia to go in.
I don't know if IU can. There we go. Doesn't get engaged on. Escape was my big concern. Even a pick onto the support Ash can change this game by so much. Up comes the arrow again. But Loud have the inside track onto the base, and they know what they need to win this game. They don't even have to kill Furia, but they do need to take these objectives. So mid-inhib going down right now does give them a way to actually access the Nexus and its associated tower later on.
Starts what could be a slippery slope for Furia there. They wanted to get Baron position, but forgot they didn't have a base to rely on, and Loud just ran it down and took that inhib with no answer from the Furia boys. Now they're going to lose their vision in the pit, and they'll have to try and get these waves under control. Ash out to Seos. We've seen him die here before. Oh, but the hook is buffered. Critical for Seos to get himself to safety, landing that terrain hook. And they'll step away. That could have been Baron. That could have been the game. That could have been everything if he goes down there.
Furia are trying to set up their mid-game dream, which was to put Jax in the side lane and force a decision, and yet it's happening now. They're trying to balance mid lane prio with this, but the longer that this situation is allowed to persist, Furia do have a better chance of picking up that Baron. Already, recalls being forced from the side of Loud, and this is where you really get to make the call. Do you take that you won that gamble, back off, and try it again, or do you actually take this moment and go for the Baron?
They're running towards it right now. FNB still with TP on the side lane. They've started up on Vision. Now Loud, how do you respond? Can you make it over? Do you even have time? I think they've given it up.
That's it.
They've had to lose the Baron, and Furia will take it just like that. The Dragon up in 40 seconds. Loud cannot afford to give away. But right now, you can tell how afraid they are of Furia. They are playing with certainly more respect, we could say, than they were maybe just 5 minutes ago.
And Furia, they can't do a lot, but in 20 seconds, they can absolutely find themselves a game-winning position. Assault goes wide. That should be almost up by the time the dragon spawns, but Loud are forced to take the jungle path in to try and find a pick onto FNB. Tinones shut out of the game on this Zoe, unable to make the proactive plays, now has to fall with the rest of the roster and trying to take this dragon, while Furia, looking like they were going to go for the end of the game, start to pivot into the river a little too late, but they want to take this fight, and if they do...
Ooh, Root secures it. Loud have the extra shield, but they've got to win this fight. They can't lose it now against the Baron buff, but Jax falls! Robo takes the kill credit, and Envy cuts Tinones off from the rest of his team. They've got Loud in a choke, but they re-engage onto Trigo and Loud after losing the last couple of fights, giving up the Baron with their backs against the wall. They scrap their way out with the soul.
And should be able to continue this chase down as well. Envy does almost pick off Croc, but Tinones is there to support. Doesn't quite get the sleepy trouble bubble after, and cutting waves at this point may be the move. Loud seem confident though. They are unshaken in the face of Baron. They know they have a numbers advantage, and there's just one Nexus tower here.
Loud have plenty of tankiness, and they've already got, as you say, only one Nexus tower to work against. Seos can just step up, and they have the Mountain Drake shield as well. Goot has to commit to it. In with the engage. They've still got this tower chipping away. It's about to fall, and Ayu's off the rift. Robo dropping low, and Croc as well. This front line melting from Loud. Somebody hit the Nexus, and Loud will take it at 4.